And look where Ryan is.
Yeah,
all the way
don't,
there.
okay.
Like at
So-
this point, I knew that this guy is like crazy.
Yes,
Just go all in.
absolutely.
He
This
doesn't
Rhine
know
is
where he
insane.
says support.
So, we didn't really talk too much about roles and what you're comfortable on or what you main or anything like that. So you just want to give me like a little gist of, like, are you support player? Are you comfortable playing Kiriko? Like, where are you right now?
Most of the time I play Kiriko or Ilari.
Okay.
One
Or
of these
Lari.
two.
Okay. So kind of flex supporty type
Depends
stuff.
on how much healing I need for the team. If my second support is something like Mercy or Zen or Lucio, I go just Ilari and try to heal tank more. And
Okay.
still doing kills and damage.
Okay. All right. And then what rank did you say this was again?
Plat 1.
Plat 1. Okay, perfect. Oh, so you're almost diamond.
Yeah, I kinda stuck there.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. Sniper, don't get shot. Under my protection.
So I like that you're being aggressive here up on the bridge at the start. You probably could be even a little bit more aggressive. So what I used to do all the time on Kiri is I'd go into this room, throw a few kunai here, head level, and then retreating is usually fine. Worst case scenario, you have a TP and you can get out that way. It just gives you a few extra percentage on your ult, which, may or may not matter. Sometimes you die with like 95%. You're like, oh, I wish I had just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go back to you.
I heard the voice line about Widow and I just dropped down.
Yes. Yes, good. Perfect.
Sniper, don't get shot.
Yep.
Under my protection.
And then, so I probably wouldn't have Suzu'd this just because you're in cover. Is that something you would agree with, or like, do you understand why I probably wouldn't Suzu here?
I'm still in a line of sight, I think. No?
So you're...
I don't really know where she is. She might
Okay.
be like on the left a little bit.
Okay, so there's a stairway here.
Yeah.
So if
But she
anybody's
might-
flanking you
Like,
from...
I didn't saw her. She might be like on the right.
You're saying like
down
down
there.
here?
Yeah. That's why I suited.
Okay. If you're
to
that
be
worried
sure.
about it, then I probably would TP instead of Suzu. But personally, I wouldn't have used anything here, just because the odds of a Widow being in this position are way lower than the odds of a Widow being up here in high ground. But if you did want to use something because you felt extremely uncomfortable, your TP is a lot less valuable to your team than the Suzu is. So if you're doing it for yourself, you should try to TP first before Suzu. And then that way you still have your Suzu for supporting everybody else. And if you absolutely need to, you can also TP, and then if you have to Suzu yourself afterwards, sure. But at least you still have the option to use Suzu for somebody else. Whereas if you use Suzu first, and then, you just have your TP for you, all you can help is you at that point.
The fight didn't start it yet. We don't
Right,
really
but the
need
fight
to
could start right
so-
now. So the fight's going to start within the next, like, 5 seconds, maybe? And your Suzu will be on a 7-second cooldown at that point. So, trying to... basically, what they want to do against you as a Kiri is if they can get your Suzu out early, they can push into you guys because you don't have it.
Yeah.
So as soon as a Widow shoots at you, you pop a Suzu, they're like, oh, Kiri used Suzu, let's go. And it's kind of just like a trigger for them to actually start a fight because you don't have a really important cooldown. Like, Suzu is a lot of Kiri's kit. She's either
Yeah,
headshotting squishies or she's using Suzu. That's like all she does. And so that's like half of your kit now that's not available for this coming fight.
What's up?
I like contesting the Widow, though. I don't see that a lot in supports below, like, Masters. Where they actually try to contest the Widow and the DPS and
Sometimes
whatnot.
just
It's
no
really
one
good.
shoots her.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
farms.
No, exactly.
I have been played a lot of Widow actually. I've been the Widow main in the Overwatch 1, I have been playing a lot of Widow in Overwatch 2, and I kinda know how it is.
Yeah, so you know when you're facing a Kira, you're like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, yeah. The spam damage is just, nah,
Right,
it's so annoying.
right. Okay, so I am not the biggest fan of this positioning. So the only reason I don't like this is because you know they have a one-shot hero, and you're kind of exposing yourself to a lot of different angles that she could be in. Whenever you're taking duels with a Widow, you only want to expose yourself to one possible angle at a time. So the problem here is she could be right here looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
She could be right here looking at you. Or she could be right here looking at you. And you can only cover one of those angles at a time. So instead, if you were maybe doing something like this, now you've got this angle, you're only exposed to that, so you can check and deal with the Widow. You can now check this angle. And then if you don't see her and you want to still look for a duel, you can then move forward like that. So it just allows you to eliminate your what you're exposed to. As opposed to as soon as you come around this corner, you're like... I mean, you can kind of deal with this angle separately, but it's hard to deal with the two here and here coming from the left. But the main rule of thumb there is just you want to make sure that whenever you're dueling a Widow or taking some type of long-range fight like this, you want to make sure you're isolating angles and not exposing yourself to multiple at one time. Alright, yeah, I'm cool with this. I cannot believe you lived. You got away with murder.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so your Rhine's in super, super deep, and you know, if you don't come here, he's gonna die. So this is good. As soon as the Diva's on me, my instinct would have been to climb up to high ground. But what you did is fine too. Retreating toward the health pack, this all makes sense.
With a wall climb, but I got stuck.
Yeah, no, I saw that. That's good. That's the right idea. That's what you want to be doing. You gotta be wall climbing all the time if you're playing Kiri. Okay. So same type of thing with Suzu. Yeah, you know that. I'm not going to talk about it.
Sometimes I just throw it away.
Yep. So, I don't like this sort of angle. Specifically because you're kind of stacked with your team. So any spam that gets sent over this way is going to hit everybody. So it's better for you to take some kind of off angle than to play necessarily stacked with them. So you could even play here. I do this a lot with Kiri. I actually spam this. Right here. This is a really good angle. You can just throw kunai and then you hit some headshots, some body shots, whatever.
Yesterday.
You're right here to the Rhine. If something happens to your backline, you can Suzu over this way, TP, whatever. But this will, standing here, you'll get hit with a lot more spam than you will over here. And you're still able to provide value through this little peek hole. Alright, you gotta walk up with your tank. Oh, wow, he's... Yep. So when your
Correct
tank
suppress
goes in
W.
that deep, sorry, still, I'm sick, so I'm trying to get over this. Still coughing. When your tank goes in that deep, my #1 priority is making sure he doesn't die. That's like really bad from your tank, but you gotta, if he does dumb stuff, you gotta try to help him.
What's up?
Yeah, but you have to stay alive yourself.
Right,
Anyway.
right. So I wouldn't I wouldn't have walked over here and like started fighting these guys, but I wouldn't have been dueling this Baptiste. I would have stepped in this corner and started healing the Rhine because he's just doing something really stupid. So my #1 goal right now is making sure this guy doesn't die, especially because he has Shatter. He's kind of your team fight win for this next fight, and then also just your tank. That's how you keep space.
What's up?
So the Suzu was totally warranted there. That was all good.
Like a gentle rain.
Okay. Yep, I like this. This is good. So now, I'd probably be looking for a flank here. So right here, you just healed your Rhine. Your Rhine's going to go do Rhine things. This would be a really good spot for you right now to... I don't know what's happening in the fight, but you could potentially be behind them.
Low.
Check over here. Sure.
Like,
I mean...
if Anna dies, everyone dies.
Uh,
Because Anna didn't have enough heals. To heal
not
everyone.
necessarily. I wouldn't be... I mean, obviously, if you can help the Ana, help the Ana.
Like a gentle rain.
But as a support, I value my tank way more than I value my other support. Just because if your tank goes down, there's only one of them. In Overwatch 1, it was a little different. So if you had, you know, if you had 2 tanks, one tank going down, it's not the end of the world. You still had another tank, and they can still do things. But now if your tank goes down, now it's just a bunch of squishies, and you guys can't do too much. Whereas if your support goes down, okay, well, you can still provide healing to your team, and then you've also helped your tank. So I like the priority here. And then Ana's 1, sure. She can nade herself. She's got a health pack not too far away. She can back up and grab this thing. So I'm not too worried about her. At this point... okay,
Yep.
she dies instantly. That happens. You were helping your tank. So I don't think there's really anything you could have done there to prevent that. But I think that after you've healed your tank's at full. Now I would look for an aggressive play and try to get a pick here. Okay, I'm not interested in trading spam with the Hanzo, because he can pretty much one-shot us and we have to 3-shot him.
Soothing your wounds. Come here. I can heal you.
So this positioning is really passive, and do you see how bad this feels? Where you're kind of just like getting surrounded everywhere?
Yeah, but there's not a lot to shoot in. Like, there's Sigma Shield and Hanzo who can one-shot me.
Right. So that means, well, it's good that
Like, I
you're
can go
recognizing
left,
that.
But there's Sigma Shield anyway.
Yes, no, an angle like this would be awful. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to... This goes back to isolating angles. So...
I was basically waiting for the rest of the team. Like, Anna who was running from the spawn.
Sure. That is the right thing to do. However, you can do that in such a way where you can contest aggressive space as a Kiriko and get away with it because you have TP. So you can play a little bit more aggro. Don't try to contest. Don't be shooting shields. Don't try to contest a one-shot hero. But like this Baptiste, you could be trying to put a little bit of pressure on him. And then if stuff gets dodgy, then you can TP out and you're fine. But what this is going to do is it's going to make them spend more cooldowns to actually walk into this space. So they'll have fewer resources for the upcoming fight. Also, if you're able to put a few headshots into some people, you're actually buying time because they're not going to want to fight when they're low. So instead of being back here and just waiting for your team, you can be proactive and give your team more time to regroup by putting some more pressure on them. And again, that's all because you're able to get out very safely. Suzu and TP you can, as a Kiri, you can take very aggressive positioning and get away with it. Early fight.
Mhm.
Because the thing that really sucks is
Like, I'm not
this.
scared of dueling someone, but most of the time I'm just scared that the rest of my team just immediately dies. You never know what happens in this game.
Sure.
Like, you can just turn around and your tank is dead.
Right. But
In 1
is there
second.
anything you could really do about that? If you turn around, your tank's dead.
Suzu?
So, I mean, if your tank dies before you can TP Suzu him, that's not on you, that's on him. So I wouldn't worry about that. Because, I mean, at that point, you basically would just have to look only at your tank and then just be watching his every move, and then if he does something stupid, like Suzu him. Otherwise, you're not getting any value if you're doing that. It's way more valuable to your team if you're being proactive and doing damage, putting pressure on the enemy. And that way, if the enemy has pressure put on them, they're not as able to pressure your teammates.
Yeah, they have to heal.
Exactly. They have to worry about their own lives.
Healed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by pressuring the enemy support, you're actually taking away space from the enemy team. Because instead of them just being able to solely focus on their damage and just pumping stuff into your tank, they're like, oh no, there's a Kiriko over here. I might die. I might get picked. My health is low. It just creates more chaos for them to think about.
Come here. I can heal you.
But the thing that really sucks now is, like, you've got people over here, and now you've got this soldier over here. Whereas if you were potentially shooting that Baptiste up here, or, I don't know, your positioning could have been here, something like this, just try to not shoot the Hanzo, then you see this soldier flanking, maybe you can test him for a little bit, maybe he doesn't get to push as aggressively out here. But it's all about space control, because right now you're so cramped, like your entire team is right here. The reason this is bad is because now, instead of the enemy team having to worry about several different angles, now they're just kind of, everybody's in one spot, and they're kind of just like herding you guys in like sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like how it feels right now, where it's like, oh, people are over here, people are over here, people are over here. That's what you want the enemy team to feel like. And so you as a Kiri can actually contribute to that because of TP. So you can play those off angles and be really aggressive. And you basically are just trying to deny that from the enemy team. I'm totally cool with this ult. I love it. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so that was just... Oh my goodness. Overwatch, please. I love the ult, because you see them kind of like starting to posture for a push, or Ryan's in an aggressive spot. This is really good. It's exactly what I would want. The Ryan goes a little too aggro, and then pathing stuff where he's going in and you're going around, and it's just really unfortunate. And then here you're just totally exposed to this angle. So just standing here in general, not a super great idea. If you're going to stand here, it's better to be back here. So that way this...
can
right.
go right now.
Say that again?
There's not a lot where I can go right now, anyway.
Right, there isn't.
Like,
I totally agree
I
with
was
that.
following Ryan and healing and where I can go. If I go in front, there's Sigma. If I go right, there's Hanzo. I go left, there's Hanzo again.
Yep.
So
No, totally.
I'm basically dead anyway.
The only thing is, there's a slight difference between if you positioned here and positioned here. So you're looking at the exact same angle.
You mean behind the car?
Right. It's just that now you're covered from anything that's on the right. So this Hanzo doesn't actually kill you if you're behind cover here.
Hmm?
So you're just a little too far out in the open. That's the only reason you die. Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. I mean, you're trying to contest, make a desperate play on their support. I probably would have done the same thing.
Done playing around. The breeze brings relief.
Okay. So you definitely didn't need to Suzu that, and do you understand why?
Because he can just go back and he'll be covered.
Right, so when you Suzu him here, he's not in any danger because he got pushed back by the rock. So you're totally fine to just heal him. And then if he was like maybe still on the ledge here and he was crit, then I'd probably Suzu him because he can take a lot more damage. But if he's back here, he's fine. He's not going to take any more.
Sometimes I use it because Suzu just heals a little bit faster than your right click. So you can just throw it into Bastion and just go anywhere else and he will be healed.
Okay, that is actually really bad. So, Suzu... I think it
like,
heals...
I know it heals not a lot, but...
You know what?
It helps with heals anyway.
Let me Overwatch wiki this because I actually don't. They've changed it a couple times. I'm not sure exactly how much it heals. I think for low HP targets it heals 80, but I could be wrong. Suzu healing. Oh, it's not even for low HP targets. So yeah, it heals 80. So the heal on the Suzu is something that's good to use like in a pinch to keep somebody alive. But if you can do the exact same job with your right click, or sorry, with your heal. I have my bind switched on Kiriko, so my heal's my right click, so that's just how I refer to it. If you can heal him up with the same effectiveness as using your Suzu, it's way better to just heal because the Suzu has the added benefit of providing a cleanse and its invulnerability. And invulnerability is something that's extremely powerful. So if somebody gets caught out of position, you can completely save them by timing your Suzu with like an incoming soldier right click or Sigma Rock, something like that, on a nade. You can purge those things from them, provide them invulnerability, and give them that burst of 80 heals, which could potentially keep them alive. To use that on somebody that's in a passive position.
Yeah, but all the team are on the high ground, and they are uncontested.
Right. Okay. Okay, so you've kind of mentioned this a couple times. I think this is probably one of the things for you that will help a lot. Suzu is a 15-second cooldown. So when you use this before a fight, you do not get it back mid-fight. It's too long of a cooldown. If you have something that's like a 6-8 second cooldown, I'm more willing to spend that pre-fight. But I want you to think when you use a Suzu, you're not going to have it for the next fight. Anytime you use it.
To use it only to save someone. Like,
right. It needs to be.
User.
Yes.
And...
It's too long of a cooldown to use for 80 heals. It's 15 seconds. If, like I said, if it was more like 6 or 8, then I'd be totally willing to spend it here, because then by the time you move over to your run, you'll have it up again, and it's fine. But by the time you get into a bit of a fight, maybe it's on like a 5-second cooldown, and then maybe you need it in 4 seconds, and then it's still on cooldown and somebody dies because of it. And it's just because you wanted to use it for 80 HP. And I'm not saying you'll get punished for it every time, because there certainly will be times that you can use the Suzu and it'll come back up. But generally speaking, be cautious with that.
In those situations, when you need it and you're like 1-2 seconds from it.
Right. I would rather. So like for the
it's like every second game.
for the next little bit here, one of the things I really want you to focus on for your next several competitive games when you're playing Kiriko is not using Suzu pre-fight. And then if there's ever a time where somebody dies because you didn't use Suzu before the fight started, then take a look at that and see, okay, this is an exception to the rule, and try to understand why. And if you have any questions about that, or you can't figure something out of like, oh, why'd this person die? Should I have used Suzu? Should I have not? You can shoot me a message or whatever, and we can talk about it. Okay. So, I don't know if you'll recall or not. It looks like you were throwing this Suzu just to throw the Suzu. Do you remember if you threw this Suzu for the sleep, or if you were throwing this because he's in danger?
No, not because of sleep.
Okay.
I just got lucky.
Okay. So, I'd be okay throwing this because of sleep. Because this is a Reinhardt, he can shield the on a nade, so you don't have to worry about that. Otherwise, I would have waited until he started taking damage, got naded, and then thrown Suzu on him. But yeah, he's totally fine here. You didn't have to use Suzu to try to save him. He's still in his armor. As long as your tank still has armor, they're totally chilling. Also, is this kind of like the positioning that you take on Eichenwalde? Is this where you like to be?
No.
No. Okay, I'm not asking for like a right or wrong. I'm
different.
I'm asking like you personally. Is this where you like to be?
High ground is okay, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay. Well, it just depends on how you like to play it. So, like, you can play in here and play more spammy.
If I can take high ground, I will go into there.
Okay. All right. So the only thing I want to warn about, if you like to play up here and on this bridge, like, there are a lot of different angles you can take as a Kiriko that are good here, which is why I'm asking the question. So, like, Kirikos can like to play here, Kirikos can like to play here, Kirikos can like to play over here. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that is still okay and good. If you choose to play in this sort of area, the only thing you want to worry about is if you ever have to heal this way, your back is exposed here. And people will be able to shoot you. You could potentially die. So you want to be careful specifically about this. So if you're ever healing somebody in this vicinity, you want to make sure that you're close to these walls here and you don't drift too far this way. Because as soon as you start drifting this way, you expose yourself. And do you recall if you meant to drop there, or is that something you would normally do, or?
I tried to. I don't know.
Okay, just Overwatch chaos.
I mean, I just thought of dropping down and do some damage.
Okay.
Maybe do some damage to Sigma, so maybe he will die and cancel the ult, something like that.
Okay. So, if you are looking for damage, then this angle is really good. And you have access to a lot of their squishies. The thing about Kiriko, especially after these recent tank changes, Kiriko just sucks at shooting tanks. It's just so bad because all of her damage is the headshot damage. And now that headshots do 25% less on tanks, it's just that much worse. So if you're going to be trying to do anything meaningful in a fight, usually you're going to have to shoot squishies. Unless the tank's like 1 HP, then, you know, shoot the tank. Or if you have nothing better to shoot, then shoot the tank. But, you know, usually in general, we're like, Overwatch community is like, focus squishies, and that's right. But for Kiriko, it's like with an exclamation mark, focus squishies, because she just does nothing to tanks. Oh, wow. So I probably wouldn't have TP'd here.
I was scared of Hanzo.
Scared of Hanzo, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's what I'm scared of too. So I probably would have climbed this and got up here, only because I don't know what this Rhine is like. I have no idea who's next to the Rhine. I can't see him. I'm low HP. So if you TP to this Rhine, there's like a 1 in 3 chance that you just TP like right directly on top of a DPS and they kill you. Like, it's happened to me quite a few times, which is why I'm pointing this out.
I'm on fire.
Okay.
And look where the Ryan is.
Yeah,
all the way there.
okay.
Like at
So-
this point, I knew that this guy he's like crazy.
Yes,
Just go all in.
absolutely.
He
This
doesn't
Rhine
know
is
where
insane.
his support is.
Right. As soon as you see this though, you actually need to walk to him and try to help him. If you're playing like Lifeweaver or something, I wouldn't, because you can't get out very easily. But if you're playing a Kiriko, then you can still support up here, and then worst case scenario, you just hold shift 180, and then you should be able to TP to somebody out here. But Kiriko is actually one of the best supports for supporting crazy tanks like this, for that reason. Okay, so let's look at this.
Feels like sewing, huh?
So you're currently the only person that's up here supporting this Rhine with whatever craziness he's doing right now. Did you
Only somewhere.
TP out because you were scared to be here, or you just wanted high
No,
ground,
because I
or
thought he's fine.
okay,
And I can just go on the high ground and make some damage again. Something like that.
okay,
Also support some support bastion.
okay. So the only reason I don't like what you did is because you TP'd there. I like what you did going up to the high ground. I just would have preferred that you climbed up there instead of TPing. Because when you TP away from the Rhine, now if something happens and the Rhine needs help now, you don't have TP to get to him. And we already know this guy's insane. So odds are you're probably not going to be able to reach him wherever the heck he needs help. So I would prefer to have my TP just in case something happens. But the decision making to get high ground where you went was really good. Okay, you're still using Suzu a little bit too much. So I mean, if you wanted to TP onto your Rhine here, that's totally fine. But he's not crit or anything, so I wouldn't worry about the Suzu. Just because you don't even know what's over here when you're TPing. You kind of just saw your Rhine going off, like, oh, he's being aggressive, let me TP to him, I'll support him. And then if you need to Suzu, go for it, but the blind Suzu is what I'm would like to see a little different. Okay, this dude is mental. Okay. Okay. So. This is crazy. I mean, great Suzu, you had to do it. This dude's gonna die if you don't. I probably just would have TP'd to him earlier, but yeah, I'm not gonna badger on that. The ultimate is the thing. I probably would not have ulted this. Because you're effectively 2 people up right now. So D.Va's out of mech, and then he killed the Echo. So D.Va being out of mech, baby
At this
D.Va.
point, I thought that Anna can't see him, so she can't really heal him. Then I can just ult to heal him faster and more, like, so he could stay alive.
Okay.
Something like this.
So, yeah, that's a good idea to have.
She can do more damage.
Sure. Right.
Like it's a bad angle anyway, but better
Yeah,
than nothing.
I mean, yeah, the angle's not super great, but more so what I'm concerned about is that this is effectively a 5v3, and we already invested one ultimate into this fight. So just off of numbers, 5v3, we should win this. Unless somebody pops off or they invest another ultimate or something like that. But usually whenever you're up numbers in a fight like this, it's up to the enemy team to invest an ultimate. And if they do, then you can respond with one. But in a neutral 5v3 where no ultimates are invested, you should win that. Like 9 times out of 10, you should win that. And then if things start going south for whatever reason, then sure, throw the ult. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more patience and just seen how the fight was going to develop a little bit more before throwing this. Just because, I mean, you know, it's a soldier, an Ana, and a Baptiste, essentially. So, I don't think there's too much danger here. The only exception would be if you were tracking that they have Nanovisor and you were doing this specifically to go after the Ana or the soldier so they didn't have the combo to turn the fight. But I based off of how you ulted here and telling me that you were going to heal the Rhine, I don't think that was what was going on here. So if your team is already ahead numbers, then don't ult unless you have to. Like this Rhine's fine. He's still got over half his HP. And then...
Well, most of the time I try to save ult anyway. Like, if I see that the fight is almost over, like, we almost wipe them out, I just hold my ult.
Right. And this is taking that a step further. So, the fight is not almost over, but you're winning. And whenever you're winning, you typically don't want to ult. You want them to do something first. Like the ball's in their court. If they ult, then you can respond. But otherwise, you don't want to throw another ultimate into an already winning fight. Unless it's like last fight of a round or something. You know, there's some edge cases. Okay. I think that's just a standard case of you have to support your Rhine and Rhine in a bad spot.
60 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing I can say is, yeah, it's hindsight 2020. I hate coaching like that and be like, oh, you should have done this specifically, you know, whatever. But I mean, really, all you can do here is TP to the Rhine and then pray it works, because otherwise, you know. But I'm not too unhappy about that death. Okay. They pop visor. That's really nice of them. Okay, that's a good Suzu. That is why you don't Suzu pre-fight, because you just saved somebody's life. Okay, I wouldn't worry about anybody that's in the air as Kiri. It's so hard to hit. And then, like I said before, she really only does effective damage if she's headshotting. So hitting aerial targets, let alone headshotting them, is really hard. I like this, though. Okay, yeah, you definitely blink Suzu. That's like a habit. You do this a lot.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to cut this. So only Suzu if you have to. So every time you TP and you think about blink Suzuing for the next like couple weeks, I want you to just hold the Suzu for 1 to 2 seconds and just think whether you have to use it or not. Unless somebody's crit. If somebody's crit, blink Suzu, save their life. But if you're just blinking to somebody and you have the thought, should I use Suzu? Just think, are they crit? No. Wait 1 second and see if I need to use it. And I promise you that'll help your games a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, very good. Do you have any questions about anything for that half in particular?
No, I don't really.
All right.
I don't know. Like I keep losing the games over and over again. I don't really know what happened. Maybe I just was like turned my brain off and went to game and just like it's like 50-50 right now.
Yeah.
I lose
Well,
one, and then I win one.
Yep, that's
I'm just over there.
usually happens when you're at a level where you've mastered everything you know how to, and then you're just like you just need that extra little something that's gonna push you over the edge. So
Yeah. And I don't need what this. I don't know what this something is.
yeah. It really seems like it's your Suzu to me. I wouldn't have Suzu'd this. So that was another Blink Suzu. That was just kind of right off rip.
I'm here.
So the Rhine is full shield and technically still in his armor. The armor thing is like a really common gauge that I always used of like, is this Rhine potentially in danger? Like, is he potentially gonna die? I do this with Winston, I do this with Rhine, I do this with Orisa. If they're out of their armor, okay, they're in danger and they need my help. If they're still in armor, like, you know, you should heal him, but don't throw your whole kit into saving him because he's still got armor. He still has some damage reduction.
What's up? The breeze.
Okay, I don't hate that Suzu. That was fine. I probably wouldn't have used it, but I don't think it's fine. Only reason I probably would not have used it there is because his shield is full. But he was low HP. He needed health. You know.
The breeze.
It's definitely not great that you died with TP up though, because you definitely could have just held shift and then flailed your. This is what I do whenever I'm in a really crappy situation with Kiri. I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. I hold shift
didn't expect
and then
Sigma to be behind me for some reason.
yeah,
I forgot about him completely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be thinking Sigma's gonna flank me on the right side either. So
The breeze.
totally get you. And it looks like you were going to TP. So okay, you started looking at the Torb. So,
The spring flows anew.
but take that nugget, if you will, of like if you're in like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. Just hold shift, flail your mouse around in a 180, and
Yeah, I know.
you'll TP to somebody.
Restoring balance.
Just hold shift and spin your head.
Pretty much. Okay, this is good.
Cleanse.
All right, we're gonna play a guessing game. Was the Suzu good or bad?
He was native, I think.
Nope.
No,
Was it good or bad?
that was Zen Orb.
Okay. Was it good or bad?
Bad because he can shield himself,
Okay.
I think.
And then also about Discord.
Right?
Did you need the Suzu for him to get rid of Discord?
Sometimes, I think.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes, definitely. In this
Zen
specific
did a lot of
situation,
damage with Discord,
yes,
like,
absolutely.
A lot of damage.
So in this specific situation, do you think you needed to cleanse the Discord, or should you have held it?
I think yeah, I need. Because
Okay.
he literally looks at the whole team. Right
Okay.
now.
So
If the shield broke right now, he'll be dead
yes,
instantly.
yes. So I would not have Suzu'd this, and I would have evaluated everything you just said. Your evaluations were all perfect. The only difference is that this Rhine has cover from the Zenyatta and from the rest of the team. So right now, nobody can actually, based on this angle, nobody can actually shoot this Rhine except the soldier and the Sig. He's backing up around a corner. Zen Discord lasts for, I think it's 2 seconds now on anybody that Zen doesn't have line of sight to. So if this Rhine just steps aside for 2 seconds, then the Discord's off, so you didn't have to cleanse it. and then
Yeah.
his shield will recharge. It is getting damaged. He does need health, so I definitely would be healing this guy.
Doesn't know how to stand still. That's the problem.
Yes. Okay. And this was going to get me to my other point. If the Rhine
Not
was
about the tank itself. It's more about the players.
yes, if the Rhine was here, I absolutely would have Suzu'd him, because that shield is going to break. He's going to take a crap ton of damage. I need to cleanse this Discord so he doesn't die. So the only main difference here is his positioning. He's in a very safe spot, so it's okay to hold the Suzu and wait for him to cleanse the Discord himself. But if he does big dumb and walks out and tries to swing at people while he's discorded, then I would cleanse it.
Okay.
Cleanse.
Okay. And just something I've been noticing a little bit, I have been I have been seeing you weave a little bit. So like you'll throw a heal, throw a damage kunai, throw a heal, throw a damage kunai. You do it, you just need to do it more. A lot of times you're either like only damaging or only healing, and then occasionally you'll mix them.
You mean okay?
It's like do you play Baptiste at all?
No,
Okay. So
I don't know. Sometimes, like once in a week or something.
okay. So with Kiri, you can heal and throw a kunai, and you don't actually lose out on any of your healing output.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So just
Like when healing restored, you can just throw kunai.
right. It's just free
Everyone
damage.
is talking about it.
Yep. So you can just toss those out in between your healing. If you're like really focused on healing, somebody's gonna die. You know, don't worry about it. Don't like potentially risk somebody's life to do it. But if you're just sitting there healing somebody, you know, flick over, throw a kunai. Maybe it gets a headshot. You know, maybe if you put one headshot on a squishy and then some other random spam hits them and then boom, they're dead. And it's just because of a random kunai that you threw. It happens. That's unlucky. I definitely would have TP'd Suzu there, so. Yeah. You did your best. That's what I would have done.
What's up?
Wow.
Let me balance you out.
That's a lot of damage. I honestly... Did you get soldier rocketed too? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Sigma spam and soldier.
Yep, that's just a lot of
Maybe-
spam. I got...
Maybe sand.
Yep. Only thing I'd mention about that is... I kind of mentioned this before when you were standing over here, how like you can just get spammed down a lot if you're like kind of grouped with your team. So same kind of thing of like everybody's in this area. So I would just be avoiding this whole line of sight in general. So that way I'm not taking all the spam.
Time to try again. Protect, let the kids
Okay.
guide you.
Ooh. Okay. Let me watch the kill feed. I was not watching the kill feed.
Time to try again.
Okay, soldier's dead. Your tank's dead.
Protecting. Let the kitsune guide you.
Okay, so this is a 3v3. So I
I
probably...
think I used tool to like. I thought that if I won't use it right now, then I just won't get another one. Like the. I don't know how to explain it.
I see. No, yeah, because you're wanting
I
to
used
get
to
as many
use it.
ults as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's 2 minutes left.
Right.
I either use it or I don't.
Yes.
I use
So
one or two. Oops.
I probably wouldn't have used it specifically here. I'm okay with you ulting into this fight. It's a 3v3. You don't have a tank though. So that means that they're going to be able to absorb a lot of spam damage that you throw in. So they have a shield tank plus 2 healers right now because both their DPS died.
I should wait for regroup and just throw it in my whole team.
You could do that. The only thing would be that Soldier might get back before then. So you totally can. How I would approach this is I would take a little bit of time to evaluate how this fight is going because you just showed up and you don't really know what's happening. So I maybe would have like came over here, see if I could have thrown a couple shots, a couple kunai into somebody, and then if I see an opportunity for a kill, if I ult, then I would ult. Otherwise, I would wait for everybody to come back because our spawns are closer, and then just ult as soon as people are starting to get back. But I just don't like that you're ulting blind with no information about like how the fight's going. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the only bad way this could have turned out, actually. So we kind of talked about how like Kiri is not very good against tanks and shields, and like she has to headshot. So if their tank had died, then I think this ult would probably be good going into it blind. It's just that because they have such an ability to absorb all your damage with shield, their tank's still up, they've got 2 healers. There's just a lot of unknowns there. So like rounding that corner and then seeing, oh, the Sigma's still half HP, he still has shield, I probably wouldn't have ulted that.
We've got this. Be healed.
Oh, crazy Ryan. Yep, okay. Well, regroup.
Like a gentle rain. Now go
Okay,
again.
so cleansing things are good, but the Ana was not in danger. So you could have totally waited for that that anti to wear off.
Okay.
I guess now that I say that, the argument can be made she is in like kind of the worst spot ever. So, yeah, you know what? I think it's fine just based on her positioning, and she's potentially going to get spammed here by a lot of things. If she was in like an area where it wasn't common to spam, so like if she was here and got purpled, then I probably wouldn't Suzu her. But this is like just the absolute most common spam angle on the map. So I'm actually okay with
Now
this.
go get him. More daijoubu. You're all good.
Man, this boy is something else.
You're all good.
So did you actually, let me ask, can you recall why you Suzu'd there, or just like looking at what was going on, why do you think you would have Suzu'd?
He was critical.
Okay. Okay, so I like the Suzu because Bastion's in turret form. And so by popping the Suzu here, you're helping him avoid a lot of damage that could be he could be getting through the Bastion. Like the Bastion could just melt him, especially because he's out of his armor. So that's my my cue for whether the Suzu was good or not is like when you're popping this in their little like 1 second of invulnerability, are you helping them avoid a lot of damage? Because essentially, if you help them avoid damage, it kind of is like you're healing them. Because if they would have taken 200 damage, but you helped them avoid it, you effectively just healed them for 200 damage. So that's like the idea behind good Suzus.
You're all good. I've got you.
Okay, I like the TP. You got Kobe'd. I don't know, that's all there is to it.
I got lost.
Yeah, no, that was a really unfortunate on a nade. Yep.
Time to get clever.
Time's running out.
What's up?
Okay, I think that was probably a bit early as well, because the Rhine's in cover. He's not taking a lot of damage at this exact moment. Like there's, you know, that 1 second window. He's not really, you're not helping him avoid much by Suzuing him there.
What's up? Soothing your wounds.
And his shield was still like pretty healthy, so I wouldn't have worried about it too much.
But it was critical.
Yes, okay. So
Like,
just
sometimes
because
I don't think about did he have cover or not. I see critical, I just throw it.
yes, okay, so that is something that we can absolutely work on. So that is a big step into like the next level of elite players in this game, is understanding cover and what that means for their tank, and then how to support them based on the cover that they have. The Rhine being here needs a lot different support than the Rhine being here. The Rhine being here has a lot, like the wall is effectively another shield for him. So you don't have to pay as much attention. You don't have to invest as many cooldowns to help this guy. If he's out here, he's just exposed to as much damage as he can see. So it requires a lot more attention. And maybe more cooldowns like Suzu. So I think probably the biggest thing with your Kiri play, I'm assuming you guys lose this. Let me make sure before,
Let's get back to
because I'm kind of starting to give you some points. Yeah. So your Suzu is absolutely the thing that's going to help you the most with climbing with this hero. So we talked about for the next couple weeks, anytime you blink onto somebody or you TP onto somebody and they're not crit, wait 1 second. And if you decide you need to use Suzu after 1 second, use Suzu. If they die, then you learned that, okay, you need to use Suzu in that situation. But I guarantee you a lot more times than not, after the 1 second of you being there, you'll be like, oh, I don't need to use it. It was fine. Just because somebody is critical does not mean that you should Suzu them. You need to think about cover. Like, probably the biggest indication of whether you're going to Suzu somebody or not is going to be, are they out of position and low health? It's not just about the health, it's also about the positioning. So, like I was talking about, out of position would be here, out of cover. If they're around cover, then they're in position. So that's kind of how I think about it in my head, is just like, okay, is this person out of position? If yes, are they low health? Yes, are they getting shot at? I need to Suzu them. If all those boxes aren't ticked, then I better be saving this guy's life. Like, he better have like 100 HP if I'm Suzuing him. But positioning is probably the thing I look at the most when I'm looking at a Suzu. If somebody's behind cover, I can just heal them up. They're not in, oh, I can't think of the right word. They're not going to be taking a lot of damage if they're in cover. And Suzu, like we talked about, is mostly beneficial for that 1 second window where it provides you invulnerability. So if you're not getting value out of that 1 second window because they're in a position like this and they're not taking damage, then you can just heal and you don't have to Suzu, and you can save it for a time when they're being aggressive and they're out of position and they need that 1 second of invulnerability to save their life.
Okay.
So focus on those
So
two things.
I need to rethink Suzu.
Yes, yes. It's all about your Suzu right now. Let's get that tightened up, and that's going to help your gameplay a lot. Do you have any questions before we go?
I don't think so.
All right. Cool. Well, I'll write you up a little TLDR of points to work on for the next, little bit for your comp games. And yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you too.
All
You
right.
helped a lot.